Bernie Sanders is now seemingly more willing to be critical of Joe Biden on issues of war and other topics. We saw a little bit of that at the last debate. We've got a new video I'm gonna go to in just a second where he's not just more willing to criticize Joe Biden, but to really drive home the long list of issues, things that haven't yet seemed to hurt Joe Biden too much in this primary, but that he seems to be more willing to bring up, and we might see that in the run up to Iowa. So here is Bernie Sanders recently on Joe Biden's record.
Joe and I are friends, and I truly like Joe. But what is imperative is that we defeat Trump, the most dangerous president in modern history. And that means you're gonna have to have a huge voter turnout. You're gonna have to get working people excited. You're gonna have to get young people excited. Joe Biden voted and helped lead the effort for the war in Iraq, the most dangerous foreign policy blunder in the modern history of this country. Joe Biden voted for the disastrous trade agreements like NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, which cost us millions of jobs. You think that's gonna play well in Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania? You know, Joe Biden has been on the floor of the Senate talking about the need to cut Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. Joe Biden pushed a bankruptcy bill, which has caused enormous financial problems for working families. So if we're gonna beat Trump, we need turnout. And to get turnout, you need energy and excitement. And I just don't think that that kind of record is gonna bring forth the energy that we need to defeat Trump.
So let's talk now about Joe Biden, because we have this interesting thing where I agree with Senator Sanders that Biden does not have big turnout at his events. He doesn't have seemingly much enthusiasm from his core supporters, and yet he has maintained first in the polls for something like 9 months now. So he doesn't have the enthusiasm, but he does apparently have durability that I did not predict last year. And so like we're on the precipice of launching into caucuses and primaries. If you were advising Bernie Sanders, Jordan, what would you tell him is necessary to start to finally crack into that first place standing of Joe Biden?
I mean, be more, if I was advising Bernie Sanders, and not that he is doing anything outside of this, but like really hammer home establishment Democrats' votes on trade deals, especially in the Rust Belt, and how it just decimated the Rust Belt. NAFTA is a household term in the Rust Belt because workers across that region understand that that was one of the reasons that many of them lost their jobs, many of them had a shift eliminated, many of them saw reductions in hours. Biden is not your friend. Biden is a corporate Democrat and has been for years. Delaware is, a safe haven for corporations, and he's represented corporate interests his entire career. Why all of a sudden would you expect Biden to do a 180 as he tries to reach his ultimate goal, like the ultimate self-serving accomplishment of becoming president? Why all of a sudden would he do a 180 and finally start caring about you, especially as he's having high fundraising, high dollar fundraisers with corporate executives? He does not care about you. Biden does not care about workers.
Yeah, we unfortunately don't have time to go into the detail I wanted on this topic, but another big thing in the news today is Elizabeth Warren's new bankruptcy plan, which doesn't explicitly call out Joe Biden, but he was one of the big sponsors on the Democratic side of the 2005 bankruptcy reform bill that has done a lot of damage to working families. Do you think that that sort of thing might, like that you have the war and trade deals coming from Sanders, you have bankruptcy coming from Elizabeth Warren, is that the 1-2 punch that finally convinces people that Joe Biden might not be their guy?
I certainly hope so. I mean, because like that's just, from top to bottom, Biden has sold out working class interests his entire career. He's been backed by corporations his entire career. He does not care about workers. He's made like with the bankruptcy bill, he's made it harder for people to alleviate financial stress and find some solace or a way out of bankruptcy or debt. He's represented big banks. He's represented special interests. The more that they can hammer him on those issues, I hope, the more it'll resonate with voters, and finally they'll start to turn and look and realize that there's a progressive champion who's been fighting for them the entire time that they could support.
Thanks for watching The Damage Report. What if you could take control of your internet experience for a cup of coffee a month? Well, if you head to nordvpn.com/TYT, you'll be able to connect up to 6 devices to NordVPN's military-grade encryption for $349 a month. If you go now, they'll even throw in 4 free months and NordPass, the new password manager app. Go now.